noted, custom made. And it smells like... Rex? Rex sniffed the box and then barked, his ears pinned back. He had the scent. As they stepped off the boat, the romantic tension between Charlie and Sarah was palpable, a brief respite from the grim task at hand. "You think it's a simple robbery gone wrong?" Sarah asked, her hand brushing Charlie's arm as they walked toward the SUV. "In a city like this, with a man like that?" "Nothing is simple," Charlie replied. He looked at her, the afternoon sun catching the highlights in her hair. "And since when do petty thieves use spear guns?" "The spear was coated in seawater, Charlie," Sarah said, her voice dropping an octave. "It wasn't just pulled from a locker." Chapter 5: The Crypto Key. The investigation led them into a labyrinth of high-tech scams and old-fashioned greed. James Endicott, a software developer with a revolutionary AI platform called Waterfront AI, emerged as a person of interest. He had been pitching Kaufman for a $150 million investment. "It's a fraud, Charlie," Jesse reported from the precinct, his voice coming through the speakerphone. "Waterfront AI isn't AI at all. It's a pipeline to a coding farm in India." Endicott was selling a dream built on smoke and mirrors. But the real twist came from the watch. Veronica Goodwin, Kaufman's business partner, was the one who revealed the truth during an interrogation. Jacob was a Luddite. Veronica sneered, her composure perfect even in the sterile room. He didn't trust banks, didn't trust the cloud. He converted his entire fortune into cryptocurrency. Millions. And the 64-digit access key? He had it engraved inside the back of that fake watch. Charlie felt a chill. The watch wasn't a memento. It was a treasure chest. The hunt for the watch became a race against time. The deckhand, Blaine Selby, who had vanished after the murder, was their primary suspect. But Rex led them elsewhere. He followed the scent of the mahogany case back to the yacht, where Carly, another crew member and Blaine's secret lover, had hidden the timepiece in the bilge. But they weren't the only ones looking. The climax unfolded on the tour boat, belonging to Endicott's cousin. Sarah had matched the spear to the boat's inventory, and Charlie knew the killer would return there to silence the last witness, Endicott himself. They found Endicott dead, another victim of the spear gun. And standing over him was Veronica Goodwin. "He was a liability," Veronica said, her voice cold as ice as she aimed a gun at Charlie. "He used his cousin's boat to sneak aboard the best kind. He did the work, but he didn't have the stomach for the payout." "And the watch?" Charlie asked, keeping his eyes on her trigger finger while Rex crept silently through the shadows behind her. "I have the code." She smiled. "And soon I'll have the money." "Street John's is too small for me, detective." She never saw Rex coming. The dog was a blur of golden light, leaping from the cabin roof and knocking the gun from her hand. Charlie moved in, pinning her to the deck as Sarah jumped aboard, cuffs ready. Later that evening, the harbor was quiet. Charlie and Sarah stood on the pier, the lights of the city reflecting in the water. Rex was busy chasing a stray tennis ball nearby. "So, swore, another one for the books," Sarah said softly, leaning her head against Charlie's shoulder. Charlie put an arm around her, the warmth of the gesture cutting through the evening chill. Kaufman had millions, but he died alone in a gilded cage. Makes you realize what actually matters. "And what's that?" Sarah asked, looking up at him. Charlie didn't answer with words. He tightened his grip, a silent promise in the dark. Rex returned, dropping the ball at their feet and letting out a satisfied huff. They were a team, and in the shadows of Street John's, that was the only thing that could keep the darkness at bay. Chapter 6: Mother's Ruin. Shadows of Street John's. A Hudson and Rex Noir. Chapter 1: The Silence of the Fog. The fog in Street John's didn't just roll in. It claimed the city like a silent creditor, demanding payment. It clung to the colorful jelly bean row houses, turning their vibrant reds and blues into ghostly pastels, and muffled the roar of the Atlantic as it gnashed its teeth against the jagged cliffs of Signal Hill. For Detective Charlie Hudson, the fog was a familiar, albeit suffocating, companion. It matched the weight of the cases that had been stacking up on his desk, secrets that felt too heavy to carry and too dangerous to ignore. Charlie sat in his parked SUV, the engine humming a low, steady rhythm that vibrated through the steering wheel. Beside him, Rex the German shepherd, whose amber eyes saw more than most human detectives, rested his chin on the dashboard. Rex's ears pricked forward suddenly, his body tensing with a subtle, electric energy. He sensed the shift in the atmosphere long before Charlie's radio crackled to life. It was the precursor to a storm, both literal and metaphorical. "I know, partner," Charlie muttered, reaching over to scratch the thick fur behind Rex's ears. "It's been a long day, and it feels like the night is just getting started." His phone buzzed on the center console. The name on the screen, Sarah Truong, caused a familiar, involuntary tightening in his chest. It was a complex knot of professional reliance and a burgeoning, terrifying warmth that he wasn't yet ready to articulate. "Hudson," he answered, his voice gravelly. "Charlie, we have a crisis." Sarah's voice was steady, but there was a sharp edge of urgency to it. A lawyer named Megan Schaefer didn't make it home. She was walking from her firm, Wilkins Law. Her parents are here at the station, and they're terrified. But that's not all. An autistic boy named Brian was found wandering a few blocks from where her trail went cold. He's nonverbal, Charlie, and he's in deep shock. Whatever happened out there, he was the only witness. "I'm 10 minutes out," Charlie said, shifting the car into gear. "Tell Jessie to start pulling CCTV from that neighborhood. We can't let her vanish into the fog." As the SUV pulled away from the curb, Charlie knew that Megan's disappearance was just the first domino. It was the spark that would ignite a fire across the city, leading them through corporate labyrinths, lethal family rivalries, and a final, bloody standoff in the woods. Chapter 2: The Boy and the Charcoal Ghost. The SJPD station was a hive of controlled chaos. The boy was hunched over a sketchbook, his hand moving with a frantic, mechanical precision that made the charcoal screech against the paper. He didn't look up when the door opened. Sarah stood behind the one-way glass, her eyes fixed on the boy's trembling hands. When Charlie joined her, she didn't turn around, but her shoulders dropped a fraction. "He won't speak," Sarah whispered, her voice reflecting a profound empathy. "But he hasn't stopped drawing since the officers found him. He's reliving it, Charlie. Every stroke on that paper is a memory he can't find the words for." Rex approached the interview room door, letting out a soft, rhythmic whine. He scratched once at the wood, his eyes pleading. "Let him in," Charlie said. "Charlie, the boy is overstimulated." "A police dog might. Rex isn't just a police dog. He knows what he's doing. Trust him." When Rex entered the room, the dynamic shifted instantly. He didn't bark or crowd the boy's space. Instead, he simply walked to the corner and lay down, his presence a grounding force in the storm of Brian's mind. Slowly, the boy's frantic breathing began to level out. He looked at the dog, then back at his paper. With a final, sharp snap of the charcoal, he slid the sketchbook toward the door. Charlie stepped inside and picked it up. The image was haunting a photographic rendering of a man's face, cold and calculating. "This isn't Jamie Bregman," Charlie said, showing the sketch to Sarah through the glass. "Jamie was Megan's ex-boyfriend, the prime suspect according to her parents." "No," Sarah agreed, joining him in the room. "This is someone else. Someone who does this for a living. If Jamie's car was seen at the firm, but this man did the snatching, then Jamie isn't our villain. He's the sacrifice." Chapter 3: The Blood in the Van. The investigation led them to the Wilkins law firm, a monument to old money and quiet power. Todd, the senior partner, played the role of the grieving mentor to perfection. "Jamie was suspended this morning for financial irregularities," Todd said, sliding a folder across the mahogany desk. "Escrow accounts were drained. We believe Megan found out and he lashed out. Rex didn't buy it." He stood by the desk, a low, tectonic rumble vibrating in his chest every time Todd spoke. The dog sensed the lie. The chemical scent of fear hidden behind a three-piece suit. Later that evening, following a GPS ping, Rex led Charlie to a desolate parking lot behind a commercial laundry. A rental van sat idling, its back doors slightly ajar. Charlie drew his weapon, his heart thudding against his ribs. Inside, they found Jamie Bregman. He hadn't fled